Alright, so hopefully that's been far better recording. As far as graphics goes, because mainly trying to dial in the settings just right has been kind of a pain in the ass. But I'm trying to do this in a way where it makes sense, and hopefully the audio, well, not so much the audio is the problem, it's not really the problem. Really the problem is keeping up with the video, just making sure the videos are up to snuff. Alright, so hopefully that's a good enough look. Nope, the game just straight up crashed. I was trying to play Yakuza Like a Dragon, The Man Who Erased His Name, one of my favorite games of this year. The year 2024. Clearly it just crashed. I'm not sure why, but I assume it's probably due to the fact that I'm recording, because the recording kind of put a strain. Because I have to do it. Hey, watch. I don't know if it'll show it, but actually maybe I shouldn't, because that's the settings for this. But basically, the recording settings, I had to do it in software, so CPU is taking the hit for it, because the NVENC encoder on the GTX 660 is too weak, so it has to record it with the CPU instead, I guess, at least if I'm understanding that setting right, because I just clicked the different types of encoders that you can use, and this was the only one that would work. So the encoder options, I should say, rather, like the things that can encode. So I tried H.264, that didn't take. I tried a different one, I forget what it's called, I'll look it up and mention it at some point in the settings. And then now I'm trying the CPU, and it looks like it's holding. The only bad news with this is this GTX 660 can get up in boogie. I was gaming at like 40 FPS, 30 FPS. Granted, it's at 1600 by 900 because this monitor that I'm recording on, it's just a spare monitor I had lying around, and I wanted to keep my own personal PC and, you know, stuff for like a YouTube video and stuff like that separate. But it looks like it's actually kind of holding. Hopefully it'll look a lot better for you guys as far as like visuals, because this monitor is ass. But I'm hoping on the actual recording side of it, like when I move it over to my actual PC and edit it up and everything, it'll actually look better than it actually does on this monitor, because this monitor is not so good. Oh, and it crashed. Alrighty, so so for that recording, I did get up and running, and I did manage to play it. However, for whatever reason, I guess recording it, playing it at the same time, it just didn't like it. But I did get to play it off recording and stuff. It was low settings, 1600 by 900, and I was getting like 35 in combat, but like 40, 50, 42, 43 in the open world, I guess. Yeah, not too bad actually. Alright, so here I'm playing Counter-Strike 2. I swear I thought I had...
Let's roll.
Thought I had the freaking overlay on, and I swear I do, but for some odd reason it just Counter-Strike doesn't like it. But all the same, I suppose it doesn't really matter. I mean, as you can see in the top right corner, we're getting... Hold on, let me... There we go. So as you can see, we're getting a very, very playable frame rate. Don't know why it suddenly just disappeared off screen. It was there just a second ago. This thing kind of does what it wants at this point. But very playable, very doable on the GTX 660. Although to be fair, this game is very CPU dependent, so really this isn't really stressing the graphics card at all, really. So that's something to keep in mind. But you need some level of graphics, to be fair. And I think the 1660 is pretty good for that. The GTX 660 is pretty good for that. Definitely could do Counter-Strike 2 with it. If that's all you got lying around and you happen to have good parts for everything else, and you need something cheap to hold you over until you can afford that, 40-something card or maybe a 30 series card, I think this would be very good. But yeah, that's kind of it. I don't notice, I mean, obviously I don't have the frame rate up or anything because this thing refuses to do it. But from what I can tell, doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look like it's... I noticed one little hitch, but apart from that, it doesn't look like it's dropping frames at all. It doesn't look like it's really stopping itself from working at all. So far, so good. Yeah, so far very good on the HD or on the GTX 660. I'm gonna stop the recording here. I just wanted to get that headshot. There we go. Perfect. I would say overall in day-to-day use, it's actually really, really solid. I don't notice anything too crazy with it. I'm installing the OG Skyrim, and then I'll install as well as the newer Skyrim, and we can kind of compare the two. Just so that way we can get a feel for both. Risk, I fully expect it to run both, and I fully expect it to max out the original, maybe. Special edition, maybe, maybe not. I'm not too sure on that one, but it should at least be able to run it. Again, all these games are being played at 1600 by 900 because of the monitor, just that's its max refresh rate. Unless I go into the NVIDIA control panel, let's see. And enable the fact that I can use 1080p. I think you should be able to do that. Hmm. 1920 and 1080p. Yes. Oh, it looks like I can do it. Easy. Okay, so now everything will be playing at 1080p. Okay, cool. So that was an easy. Okay, so I don't need to buy a new monitor because I was thinking of purchasing a monitor that's 1080p, 75 hertz. Like, you get a Best Buy for like $100. But I was like, I don't really want to spend money on this because I'm trying to get this YouTube channel kind of just started with what I've got, and then just kind of, whatever I make, if I just, keep going and I actually somewhat take off or make some money, I figured, then up the budget for this. But other than that, just kind of use what I got lying around. Just because it seems like the smart thing to do. But as you can see, download speed's really good. Granted, this is transferring from my main rig. This is actually really, really nice. But to be honest, not every PC I've used has transferred at this kind of rate. Like even my old very first PC, that has way better. That has, I would say, slightly worse specs than this. Minus the graphics card. The graphics card I have in that one is a 1050 Ti, which is better than this. That one transfers at like 300 frames, 300 megabytes per second, whereas this does like almost a whole gig per second. That's actually really, really good. Alright, so I have both Elder Scrolls 5 and Skyrim installed. So this is kind of what I have the GPU at. I did overclock the GPU by 100 megahertz on the core clock, and I did set the fan speed to 70%, just because I feel like 70% I've noticed for most graphics cards is kind of like that sweet spot of the most amount of cooling you can get, but with the least amount of noise. So I usually try to keep it in the 70 mark. You can up it to 100 if you're okay and you want lower temps. Personally, these graphics cards are a bit lower end now at this point, and you can get them like dirt cheap. So like this GTX 660, I think cost me. Granted, I bought it a couple years ago, but I think at the time it was like $35. Now you could probably snag it for probably closer to, I don't know, maybe $20. If that, maybe 15. 10 if you really wanted to do some shopping, you know what I mean? Like if you really did the deals, you could probably find one for $10. I can't imagine it would be that hard. But we're gonna go ahead and give that a second. I'm gonna get back to recording once we have the game actually up and running. I don't want to have you guys sit through this whole thing. Alright, so for reference, so we're starting with the OG Skyrim, the very first one that was released on the PS3 and Xbox 360, and of course the original PC port. So the game suggested I try running at ultra high settings. I mean, this is the OG port, so keep in mind I only have to beat out the Xbox 360 and PS3 for this to be good. So that's not really saying much. But it did say that... Let me just hit continue real quick. Oh, I think it froze. Oh, no, never mind. That was weird. Okay. Just hitched for a second, but no biggie. It's probably just an anomaly. So this is what it'll... Ooh, 60 FPS so far? Okay. You know what? I had my doubts, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the GPU is being maxed out. So far, the CPU doesn't really seem to be stretching its legs, but that's because it's a 6-core processor. Oh yeah, for those of you guys wondering, it's a Ryzen 5 4500. And then a GTX 660. So this is what the OG Skyrim would look like, maxed out. Damn, this actually looks really, really good. Kind of surprised. And it is running at 1080 since I did the little trickery in the control panel. But let's see. Audio, yeah, this is fine. I don't think it's too bad. And honestly, that looks pretty good. This is a buttery smooth 60 FPS. Let's see what it looks like in combat. Man, I loved Skyrim, dude. The first time I played it, I was actually on the Nintendo Switch. I totally skipped it on the PS3 and 360. Because, to be honest, I have just gone off like a huge gun craze, like kick, with Call of Duties and all that. So for me, the idea of like swords, magic, and all that crap, it didn't interest me at all. Now I do. Now it does, but it was not in my peak interest at the moment. But this looks so good. Even now, it still looks so good. Bethesda was really ahead of themselves with this one. I'm not gonna lie. Because, honestly, this is the OG port, and it still looks so good. Look at the rocks, dude. That still looks... you'd be hard-pressed to think that's not current gen. Okay, so yeah, it looks like in combat, it maintains its frame rate. I mean, granted, that's... it's a wolf, not a fucking dragon, but I think it's safe to say that it would probably hold up well against the dragon, too. Alrighty, so with that one, we're going to go ahead and jump over to Special Edition, just because I feel like that's the one, most people would probably want to see at this point. Alright, so this has been a weird kind of game, like a weird, what's the word? look at the GTX 660. The GTX 660 is not holding up in terms of frame rate, or in terms of compatibility at all. Would I recommend anyone buy this graphics card? Probably not. Just because it's not even like, it's not so much that it's even out of date, even though it is. It's just more so that anything I try to run on it that hasn't been Skyrim hasn't ran. Everything. Older games, perfect. You know what? Half-Life 2, the original, Black Mesa. Games I've, would tested offline just to kind of see if they were even run, because I didn't want my PC to just randomly shut off again. Because it seems like every game I've tried, the PC's randomly shut off. I tried TCG Card Shop Simulator, something super easy. Not the most optimized game, but pretty easy-ish. I tried... what else did I try? What the hell else did I try? No, I don't know. I tried Mafia 2, the definitive edition, that ran, but it kept crashing. Both games, they both ran, but crashed almost immediately. Here's Skyrim on the ultimate settings. Oh, ultra settings. This is Skyrim Special Edition, pretty much maxed out at 30 FPS. 30-ish, a little over, which is still really, really good. But this is with nothing going on screen. Who knows what it'll be off screen. And definitely playing at 30, you do notice it. So, like, if you're comfortable playing at 30 FPS, then by all means, then you're good. But if you're used to 60, maybe shell out for a better graphics card. But this has been the look at the GTX 660. It's not terrible. This is all playing at 1080p. It's not bad by any means, but I would prefer to play it on something just a tiny bit beefier. It wouldn't even have to be that much better, to be honest. Yeah, it would probably be like a 1050 Ti would be perfect. That'd be just overkill, just enough for this game. I'd recommend going for a 1050 Ti, to be honest. It's like $50, maybe less, if you go shop around, and you could play this game all damn day. And Skyrim mods and everything enabled is so much better. Plus, you could do like even if you can't like afford a 1050 Ti, you can do like I just scored and I'm gonna do another video on it for an HD 7870. It's a poor man's 1050 Ti. It's like slightly weaker, but it's all like practically there. And that'll be a very interesting video to do, because I never owned one, because I actually got an actual 1050 Ti back in the day when that was my first GPU. So I'm definitely curious as to what that will do. And yeah, this has been Skyrim. I guess it's a Skyrim. This card is a Skyrim card. To be honest, this card I'm probably gonna just use for, like, if I get a motherboard, I get a RAM, or like a whole kit without a graphics card. And this will probably just be something I slap in there just to make sure that everything works. Would I actually play a game on this thing? Probably not. But just wanted to give you guys a look at, kind of see what you could expect with this kind of graphics card. Would I recommend you guys go out and buy one? If you manage to snag one for a couple of bucks for a display adapter, just to kind of see what, just to make sure your parts work, assuming you also build them, sure, for the right price. However, would I recommend you actually daily drive one of these and game on it? No. I would say a 1050 Ti I would consider the minimum for a budget build. But to be fair, I'm going to try some lower end cards just like this one. See kind of what you could expect in 2024 should you be running these kind of things. I just thought it'd be something interesting to do on a YouTube channel, so I figured I'd make one. But to be fair, this is running Skyrim 1080p ultra settings at 30 FPS. It is running it. I gotta give it credit. It is running it. But I'd probably do Fallout 3, New Vegas, maybe Fallout 4, although that one's Fallout 4 doesn't run the greatest, so maybe not. But I mean, it would launch. I could say that. Yeah, it would definitely launch. I think it'd run the smoothest? No, but it would launch. But it's holding 30 FPS. I'll say this much in Skyrim. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you guys want to see any other videos. I'm definitely going to try to get that 7870 soon. I scored it on eBay. I just have to whip out the debit card for it and pay for it, and wait for the shipping, of course. But yeah, so Actually, yeah, let's go ahead and take a look in Whiterun. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you think there's something else I could have tried to get the most performance out of this thing. I did repaste it and all that, like I said. But I think this is the best it's going to do. And yeah, I think overall, Skyrim, pretty playable on this thing. But I would stick to the OG Skyrim, because the OG Skyrim, as you guys saw, ran at 60 FPS max settings. So I would probably honestly play that. But to be fair, Skyrim Special Edition does come with some extra graphical enhancements. Plus, there's more, the mods, community is more compatible now with this. There's far more mods for this now than there is the... Although to be fair, the OG, I think you can still mod it and still actually get it up and running with mods. There's just no new mods coming out for it, though. That's the thing. But yeah. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. And let me know if you guys are interested in seeing more videos. Peace.